station.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Yeah, one of our top business stories today was that new unemployment data that we've got from Cooper Fitch that does appear to show a bit of a slowdown in the UAE jobs market and a surge in Saudi Arabia. Joining us now to talk through the numbers is Trefor Murphy. He's the founder and CEO of that recruitment agency, Cooper Fitch. Trefor, lovely to have you join us in the studio. Tell me, so are these the numbers from the latest quarter, basically?
So this is our quarter two and we're reflecting on how that compares to the previous quarter and the same period for last year.
OK, so we've seen this slight slowdown in the UAE. How big a slowdown is it and what do you think's caused it?
So I think overall we've seen an overall Gulf slowdown in Q2. We have to reflect that we had Ramadan and 2 Eid breaks within that quarter. We don't seasonally adjust our numbers, so it's just raw data. So overall, I think the level of employment activity is still very good. 4% down in the UAE still represents the biggest or second biggest market that we work in terms of the number of new opportunities. Qatar slightly up 2%, Saudi up 6%. Which is particularly strong performance when you consider that they've slightly longer, or in some cases much longer, Eid breaks. So on reflection, I think that market is doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite impressive to see that number coming up above the UAE. Interesting that Qatar's had 2%, because you'd have thought that everything would have gone quiet there post-World Cup.
Yeah, it did in quarter one. So again, this is a quarter two.
Yeah.
It's up 2% on a particularly quiet quarter after World Cup in quarter four last year.
Oh, so it really did go dead for the first few months.
It certainly went down, yeah, for sure, yeah.
OK, so how about which sectors are actually slowing faster than others in the UAE? You know, you'd expect that, for example, ESG to still be going up because we've got COP28 coming up, so people may be bringing others in. But what's actually causing the slowdown?
So outside of the fact that we had those particular breaks, those season breaks within a quarter, we had a lot of aggressive growth in quarter one, particularly in the UAE. So the consulting market took off like a rocket in quarter one. So all the strategy houses, big four firms, all the consulting firms, including legal, all had really significant numbers in Q1, and that's just dropped off a little bit. I don't think there's anything majorly happening, maybe outside of that, but legal, private practice, strategy, advisory, audit, audit risk, practices all down a little, but. Again, it's not really something we're concerned. The overall number is still strong. 3% drop with those elements in there is still really strong performance.
So nothing yet to properly scare the horses, so to speak. How about
definitely not.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I appreciate that reassurance. Yeah. But what about the deal with Saudi? In which fields are you seeing growth there? Is it oil and gas? Is it commercial? Is it consultancy? I imagine there's quite a lot.
Yeah, look, I think overall, so public sector doing really well. 12% up on previous quarter, phenomenally well. So they were a little slower to begin their kind of larger recruitment campaigns. Interesting that they're really driving a kind of a tech rebound from the government side of things. So big government transformation projects around digitization, around data, and particularly cybersecurity. And even development, we've seen really strong programs come out, and that's really boosted employment numbers in those areas.
What type of positions are you recruiting for? Is it C-suite or is it more middle management? It's
C and just below. So kind of manager and above is kind of our space. So a lot of this is certainly the more senior end of the market. But it's indicative, and it's a really good indicative value of where the overall employment levels are going.
Now, Tom and I were talking about this earlier this morning, about the fact that lots of people we know are making that move to Saudi now, and it's ultimately because money talks. But I was really interested to hear that it's not as much money as it used to be. There isn't that much of a difference between the UAE and Saudi. It used to be I mean, people used to be talking in multiples of, they'd say they were getting double if they went to do the same job in Saudi. Now I'm hearing suggestions that it's only a third more, and maybe you're not getting the same housing allowance that you used to. Have you seen that yourself?
Yes, I've been here 12 years and I've never seen anyone double their salary going to Saudi Arabia.
It was all talk, wasn't it?
People like to talk a good game. But it is... So if you're in a high-performing job at the moment in Dubai and somebody feels that your skill set is needed for their organisation, you could typically see 10-20% uplift on your current salary.
Oh, so...
And similar for Saudi. I mean, it's positioned, okay, maybe a little bit more of a premium, maybe 20%, but it's Riyadh, Jeddah, and living in Saudi is very different now. It's much more acclimatized to suit lots of nationalities as well.
There's a bit of a suggestion on Bloomberg. They've put out a report in the last 24 hours suggesting that these continuing oil cuts that the kingdom are introducing could actually cause a bit of a slowdown in the country, a bit of a slowdown maybe, therefore, on the jobs market. Have you got a bit of a forecast for what you expect for the next 6 months?
Not Bloomberg's forecast. I mean, so I guess from an economics point of view, reduction in oil may lead to a reduction in revenue or spend value for the Saudi government. When we've seen them coming to the first 2 quarters like they have, and even post-Eid, which is we're only into our second week post-Eid now, we're seeing is super busy. We could see our 4 or 5% this quarter increase in Saudi, and maybe topping out around that 3 or 4% for the final quarter of the year. More difficult to say as far away as that.
Can I get quite into the nitty gritty with you? Where are people moving to? I'm really is Riyadh versus Jeddah, or are you getting quite a lot down in Neom now as well?
So it is Riyadh predominantly. And then you've got obviously the major giga projects and mega projects, and they're scattered everywhere: Neom, Alula, Red Sea, Al Mala, amongst many others. I guess they're the ones that everyone knows at this stage. But I would say even those organisations, their headquarters typically are in Riyadh. So Riyadh is such a dynamic and probably one of the most dynamic and busiest recruitment cities in the world right now.
Exciting stuff. Amazing to have you, and really interesting to hear there about that sort of slight switch of fortunes potentially here in the Middle East. Great to have you on, Trefor Murphy, founder and CEO of the recruitment agency Cooper Fitch.